Okay, now I will start working on your cabinet shelf support. To do that, I'm going to open up a new, before doing that, I'm going to save this file and I'm going to open up a new document part, and I'm going to set the units as mmgs, and I'm going to save this part as, I'm just copying that, and I'm going to name this part as cabinet shelf support. Okay, so I'm gonna create this part. I'm gonna start again with the top line. I'm gonna look normal to it by right clicking on it. I'm gonna click on sketch, and I'm gonna draw a sketch slightly different this time. I'm gonna use one of the corner rectangle there, and I'm gonna go into this direction. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw another rectangle right here, and I'm gonna use this trim entities. I'm gonna use the power trim. I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna drag my mouse over here, and I'm gonna cut that from that. And now I'm gonna add the dimensions. So the dimensions, this length I'm gonna set as 20, and this one 5, this one is 5, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim this one from there, and I'm gonna drag this point, and I'm gonna just make it as and drag it towards right, and then make it coincident with that other existing point there. And now I'm gonna add the dimension there. This is 20, and one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shift this point, and we're just gonna drag it there. So as soon as I have done it, it had made it this point coincident, and my sketch is fully defined. So these are the dimensions that I need for that part. And now I'm gonna go to Feature tab, and I'm gonna do the extrusion for that. And as far as the extrusion is concerned, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the extrusion this time mid-plane, and I'm gonna set the depth equal to 20 millimeters, and I'm gonna click OK. So this is done. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a sketch on the top of the surface. I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna look normal to it. I'm gonna go to Sketch tab. I'm gonna draw a circle there, and the circle I'm gonna try to come right in the middle. I'm gonna drop this one there, and I'm gonna start adding the dimensions. The dimension from this point to this one is 10, and from here the center point to that one is 10, and the diameter for this part is 5 millimeters. And I have created my sketch, and I'm gonna click OK for the dimensions. My sketch is fully defined. I'm gonna go to Feature, and I'm gonna extrude it by 10 millimeters. And that is done. And now I'm gonna add a fillet on this edge. I'm gonna round it. To do that, I'm gonna go to Feature tab and then click on this fillet tool icon, and I'm gonna select this edge, and then I'm gonna enter the radius for that fillet equal to 2. As soon as I'm gonna change it, it will show the preview with the 10 because it's bigger than the diameter. It won't be able to round off that. And I'm gonna click OK. So that's done. The next step I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a rib feature, which is different than what I have described in the lab manual. You can follow the lab manual as well. I just wanted to introduce you to the rib feature. That's the reason I wanted to deviate from the lab manual. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this top plane, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna click on the rib feature, and it's gonna prompt me to. I'm gonna press spacebar key on my keyboard, and I'm gonna select normal to. And now I'm gonna go back to the sketching area. I'm gonna draw a line from here, and I'm gonna come and drop it there. Okay, and I'm gonna press escape key on my keyboard, and I'm gonna exit the sketch. And as soon as I'm gonna exit the sketch, as you can see, the arrow is pointed this way. It's basically the rib feature. The way it works is it will add the material inwards or outwards depending on if there is materials on the outside too. So the thickness of that rib, I'm gonna specify as 5 millimeters. And as soon as I'm gonna enter this, I'm gonna click OK. And my rib has added. So this is basically rib feature is a combination of trimming using the your regular extrusion process and then chamfer. So rib is basically combining that. So but this is a faster way of creating it. So this will complete this part. So I'm gonna save this, and I'm gonna carry on creating your the door for this cabinet. And I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna open a new doc part file. I'm gonna click OK. And now I'm gonna add is set my units to mmgs, and I'm gonna save this file as. Before doing the cabinet door, I'm gonna do the shelf. I'm gonna click on this, and I'm gonna just remove this from there, and I'm gonna name this part as small cabinet shelf, which is different than what I'm showing in the lab manual probably, but I'm just gonna save that as that. But please be consistent with the lab manual when you're doing it. Now I'm gonna go to the top lane. I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna use the center rectangle, and I'm gonna basically drag it out by clicking here, and I'm gonna add the dimensions. The dimensions are, this dimension is 350, this dimension is 500, and now I'm gonna go to the feature tab. I'm gonna click on extruded boss base icon, and I'm gonna extrude this by 20 millimeters, and I'm gonna click OK, and I'm gonna save this file. So the shelf cabinet shelf is complete. Now I will create the cabinet door. Again, I'm gonna open a new document, part file. I'm gonna click OK, and I'm gonna set the units as mmgs, and now I'm gonna save this file as. So I already have 3 components there. This one I'm gonna call it small cabinet door. This will be the fourth component associated with this lab exercise. So I'm gonna go back again to the top lane, right click and look normal to it. I'm gonna do a sketch. Again, I'm gonna use the center rectangle, and I'm gonna click and drag it out, and then click again. And now I'm gonna add the dimensions. The dimension for this one is 300. This dimension is 600. Then I'm gonna press F key, so zoom out, and I'm gonna go to feature tab, and I'm gonna extrude it by 50 millimeters. 50 millimeters, I'm gonna click OK. So now I'm gonna click on the side face, and I'm gonna click right click on it, and I'm gonna look normal to it. And I'm gonna add 4 holes there. All right, so let's add the sketch there. I'm gonna click on sketch tab, sketch icon, and circle, and I'm gonna go here, drop one there, drop one here, drop one there. And what I'm gonna do is press click OK there, and I'm gonna press and hold Control key, select this, select all 4 circles. I'm gonna make them equal. I have missed one, and I'm gonna add the geometric relationship as make them equal to each other, and click OK. And now I'm gonna add the dimensions. Between this is 100. Oops. And between this and this is 30. Between this and this one is 340. Between this and this is again 30. And now I'm gonna add the dimension for this is 5 millimeters. Okay, and now I'm gonna add is go to the feature, and I'm gonna click on extruded cut, and I'm gonna specify the distance for the depth for those holes is 25 millimeters, and I'm gonna click OK. So the holes are added, so this completes the lab door. Just looking at the my position of these holes, I'm noticing I haven't entered one of the dimensions correctly, so I'm gonna make change to that, and I'm gonna do that right now. So I'm just gonna go back to edit sketch, and I'm gonna check the dimensions. Actually, this is the dimension which is incorrect. This from this edge to this hole, this circled center point distance should be 130. This is 130, and the reason I picked this I think the wrong circle when I entered, so I'm gonna double check. I'm gonna select between this. Actually this is 100. That's what it specifies in your lab manual. Another thing I haven't done properly for this part is this my sketch is underdefined, so I need to properly define this sketch. So what I'm gonna do is to do that, I'm gonna get out of this smart dimension. I'm gonna select this part, I'm gonna select this point, and I'm gonna go zoom in. I'm gonna select this center point, and I'm gonna select this center point, and I'm gonna make them horizontal. And this is over defining the sketch. That's okay. what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a dimension here now, and I'm gonna select one of the things, and this needs to be 25 uh, millimeters. So that's that. If I want to get out of this overdefined sketch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete this because that dimension wasn't needed. Now all the dimensions are according to the lab manual. So I'm going to exit this sketch. So doing so, it has basically adjusted the whole position. So now my door is exactly as it's described in the lab manual. Gonna save this part, and now in the same video I'm just gonna quickly complete the last component as well. And to do that, I'm gonna open a new file, and I'm gonna click part, click OK, and I'm gonna set the unit as mmgs, and I'm gonna save this file as, and I'm gonna call it this part as flat bracket for 2 cabinet assembly. Okay, so to do that, again, I'm going to go to the top plane. I'm going to look normal to it. And I'm going to sketch icon. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to add a center rectangle again. And I'm going to start at the middle. And I'm going to move it out. So I have the coincident relationships there. And now I'm going to add the dimensions. So the dimensions are as follows. This dimension is 70 millimeters. This dimension is 90. And at the same time, I'm going to add 4 holes, 4 circles in there. And I'm just going to click on the circle. And I'm basically going to drop one there, one there, one there, and one there. And I'm going to add some dimensions. So from this edge to the center point of this arc is located at 20 millimeters. And the same thing from here to here is 30 millimeters. And from here to here is 20 millimeters. And from here to center one is 50. Now I'm going to add a couple of geometric relationship between them. So first thing first, I'm going to press Control key and hold it press. I'm going to select this, 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 and this. I'm going to make them equal. And click OK. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this center point and hold Control key, and this center point and Control key. Now between those 2 points, I'm going to add a vertical relationship, so they're lined up vertically. And I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to repeat the same thing for this one and this one while I'm holding down my Control key, and I'm going to make them vertical so they have shifted. I'm defining, fully defining my sketch, and click OK. Now between this point and this point, I'm going to make them horizontal, and click OK. And this point and this point, I'm selecting them by holding my Control key. I'm going to make them horizontal. As soon as I'm doing that, only one relationship that I really need to define is the dimension for this hole. I'm gonna set the diameter as 5 millimeters. As soon as I do that, I have fully defined my sketch because all the features are fully defined. And now I'm going to exit the smart dimension. I'm going to click on feature tab, and I'm going to do an extrusion. And I'm doing the extruded boss base, but wherever I created those circles, it is basically creating the holes. And the thickness of this part is 2 millimeters. And I'm gonna click OK. So basically, this completes all the parts associated with your lab 3A. I'm gonna save this document, and I'm gonna stop this video.